Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
Being 6:38, we'll start the Wednesday, December 14th, 2022 meeting of the Westminster Select Board. Sorry to those online, we had a little technical difficulty. Any adjustments to the agenda at this time?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that we go into executive session this evening and invite the Assistant Town Manager to join us.
The Assistant Town Manager?
Correct.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Motion has been made and seconded by Craig to go into executive session and invite the Assistant Town Manager / zoning
To discuss contractual matter. Yep.
for contractual matter. Any
That's going to
discussion?
be down at the end, right?
Yes. Yep. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Acceptance of minutes, December 1st, 2022.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the minutes for Thursday, December 1st, 2022. Any discussion?
Only just a quick question. Why, is there any reason why some of the words were in bold and some weren't?
It was, you're talking about the conflict of interest.
The page 3.
Yep.
It just did seem to, it was just something that the machine did, or? Normally when it's bold, you're trying to highlight something.
It looks like it's the beginning of each article in that.
It was when, the disclosures, it was conflict of interest when there were changes that Kevin was making, disclosures enforcement.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about, effective date? I was just trying to highlight them. Just,
Yeah, it says added was a bold set of standards of conduct, then nothing, then
because it was
conflict.
a change, I think.
Okay, that's fine. It was just, normally you're trying to bring something that we should look at, that's all. I just,
Sorry if it was confusing.
thank you.
Yep, defining duress, defamation, yeah, that's why I did it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Communication and public comments. Anybody online? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to unfinished business, investment policy.
I do apologize, so I'll be brief this evening. The investment policy we discussed, you don't have something in writing, but I will, Mr. Chair and fellow members and members of the public, for December 28th. For purpose of the public, as you know, we are reviewing any and all of our prior policies and hope to adopt an investment policy statement. Investment policy statement would govern the financial accounts that the select board is required under statute to be a fiduciary and or custodian for. And the purpose of the policy is to ensure that the use of public funds when they are currently at rest or in investment, that they are invested in a way that is proper, prudent, secure, and ensures that the people's money is safeguarded. And then that's open to discussion as to what that may be. Traditionally that's been secure assets such as United States Treasury bills, cash funds such as money markets, and short to intermediate term government protected bonds, and even short to intermediate term certificates of deposits. As we all know, though, over the last 10 years, some municipalities and other government agencies have gotten a little bit more reckless with the use of funds and investing in stocks and other items. So that's for open debate, and certainly everyone is encouraged to put in their viewpoints and participate both publicly and obviously on the board and everyone else. So for the 28th, the 2022, we will have on the agenda an actual mock-up for the policy, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
And that way we can take it under advisement and look forward to potentially adopting it. Thank you.
Okay, so we will table investment policy until the 28th. Sound reasonable? Any other discussion on investment policy? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to new business, budget discussion. We have a lot of info in front of us, and Ken, if you want to explain slash whatever how we go through all this.
Can we ask him a question?
You can ask anybody anything you want.
I'm always looking at this time of year revenue because expenditure normally we're not that far into the year. But in the second line down, delinquent taxes, this says we had budgeted we're gonna get 80,000. It looks like we got $133,000 so far. I just wanna make sure. And further down under taxes is pilot, we were supposed to get 54, we already got 61. And then on the next page where you got miscellaneous revenue, we budgeted 750 and we got $20,231 in, which basically is telling me we got a lot more money in already than we had budgeted. And I don't need an answer tonight, I would just like to see us come back and find out. And if we got that much in delinquent taxes and we're not even halfway through the year, it looks like it's.
Okay, what was the third number?
The third one is on page 3, where it says miscellaneous revenue. I don't even know what that is, but we had put $750, and somehow we got $20,231 in from someplace.
It's,
Page 3.
Where are you looking?
Yeah, I don't know where you are.
I'm not
either.
following.
Sorry,
Wait a minute, page 3.
Craig.
Page 2, I'm sorry, page 2.
Page 2.
To
Oh, right, the third line
Oh,
down.
miscellaneous. Okay.
Those 3.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, all 3 of those lines are pretty well ahead of anything that we thought we were gonna get, let's put it that way.
2,697% ahead. It's quite a bit.
Yeah, and I don't even remember what $750, normally we have something there for miscellaneous we would get. Why all of a sudden we have $20,000 and we didn't know
Yep.
where to earmark it? That's all I'm just questioning, did it actually just didn't get earmarked to the right place? That's all.
I don't remember what it is.
Okay, I'll look into it and bring it back next,
Thank you.
next meeting.
Okay. Ken, do you want to go through this line for line or a section at a time, or how do we want to do this? I mean, this is basically what's on our table, on our plate tonight, so.
Okay, first, let me preface it with it's a preliminary. 2 weeks in, going through the detail, getting up to speed with the day-to-day. So there's a lot of need for improvement with these numbers. What would you prefer? How would the select board prefer? Line for line could be.
Typically, we've done it in chunks at a time, so we're not dealing with like trying to go through the whole thing, but, I don't
On the other hand,
I don't have a
thought-
preference.
On the other hand, I thought we were gonna break up into groups and then come back.
We were, and I think this is a good preliminary to have, so we kind of have an idea where we're at, then we can figure out what direction we need to go.
I guess my only concern was, is there something that's drastically changed that you're trying to question us on, like, why are these numbers different?
Oh, let me explain how the dots on the right,
Yeah.
on the last column, the double dots are questions,
Okay, that's real good.
I really don't know. The single dot is stuff that I can do, research myself.
Okay.
But the double dot is
All right, well,
more,
let's go through those then.
the double dots.
Yeah.
Good idea, really good.
What do 3 dots mean? Because we've got some 3 too.
Do we?
Yeah, on page 5.
Three
Oh,
dots.
yeah, maybe those are meant to be 2. I got excited.
No, it's a combination. Work together.
Oh, you're great.
All right, let's start with,
No, good for you.
let's start with the first set of doubles.
Okay.
Selectmen's expenses.
I mean, it's not a big number, you know, I just, because it's your expenses, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm fine with 4,000, but,
What your question is, why did we go from 2,000 to 4,000?
no, it's more, you know, I don't wanna make, you know, I don't wanna put down a number of your expenses. That's all, you know,
He doesn't want to speak on our behalf.
there you go.
Unless we decide not to sign a contract with Fact TV, that is gonna be what it's gonna cost. I guess that's the answer to that question, you know?
Right, because we, basically our expenses are Fact TV and Millie.
Well,
Well, that's covered.
normally here, that's where
For the
Fact TV would
clerk's
come to us and
salary.
says, you know,
Yeah.
it's gonna be 4,000 or 5,000 or 6,000. So I don't see anything that would come out other than if that's what they're gonna be able to live on, they can stay at 4,000.
Okay. I mean, I could actually reach out to them and see what they're gonna
Great.
charge us.
And then if that's different,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
What's the next one?
Select board meetings, training materials, you know, meetings and materials.
Probably leave it there because we got more of a turnover and it's really, if we send anybody to the class, well, I haven't been in a while, but they're normally like $150 to go to.
Yeah, I don't even know what they are now. They probably have all gone up.
Yeah, they're probably gone up. They were, used to be 150, but let's say we got two select person, they want to go to select, which is good. You're gonna pay $150 to $200 to go to the meeting.
They didn't
Should find
have
out
that
if,
with COVID.
we should find out with the 223, because again, you're gonna, if, we have new board members, at least two, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna require select training, or initial training, likely. So, what, 3 or 4 training sessions? I don't even know what they cost, so
All right.
it's probably gonna be more than 300 allocated.
If you reach out to VLCT, they'll help you with that.
Okay.
We don't require it, but most usually the new select boards, and it's a group. They hold it right after election.
I never.
That's the problem.
I didn't have the
That could
option.
very well be.
I didn't have the option either, so.
It's
I've been
very
more than
good.
happy to do it, especially if it's in the
No.
winter. I mean,
It is, I still remember going to it, it was basically teach you how to hold a meeting and what you do at the meeting and what the select board actually does. I thought it helped me a lot.
I find the training to be very helpful.
Okay, so let's, look into that. If an adjustment needs to be made, we'll,
Yeah, because how many people go, I'm not gonna know, you know, or how many people. you want to go.
Let's allocate though for, let's say, right, it might also be more than one training. I know I went to more than one session on different matters, including budgeting, right? I would say, ladies and gentlemen, we should budget for 5 meetings or 5 potential seminars.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, the next one is legal counsel. I'm unfamiliar with the legal needs for the town. I don't know how often Larry is called. I can look historical, but, yeah, what's in the pipeline, what comes up, I mean, that's,
Well, as long as you stay as the town manager and you don't leave, we don't have to hire all that, it's pretty low.
I'm guessing that this year we're in right now, though, is gonna be thrown off quite a bit, because I know I have used his guidance a lot, because I don't know, and I wanna make sure if I suggest something, that it's at his referral, basically.
I agree.
So I think that.
I think 8,500 is a little too light.
I think that's way light. And it depends on what's, like, he's working on that Randy Dairy Farm, like, he's got a lot going on too, so that adds up very fast, so.
Yeah, and you look at
So we say,
19 and 21 and you had $14,000
Yeah.
I would say
Almost
$12,000.
at least.
I would go, you see in 2019, we spent 13,000, and in 2021, we spent 14,000, so I would say right away, that you're more like 15,000.
15,000?
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
okay. I will make that change. The question mark is, I mean, I didn't understand those lines. And the A's are, for the executive session. There's a line item,
Finance training.
all those, went up to the, yes, the assistant.
So the question marks you had,
I just don't know, how many elections and what the cost. I mean,
ballot clerks operating.
yeah, I mean, it's not a significant number, but I just don't know what it is, what it even represents.
This was in the executive department? That's your department, correct? Is that what we're alluding to?
No, it's the treasurer's.
Trade.
My apologies.
His department's up here.
No, the A I'm looking at here.
Right, yeah.
Oh, right, no, the A's, yes, roll up. I forget what the line used to be. There was a line, so we had actual in 20 and 21. I should have kept that as an explanation, but, finance officer. That used to be the finance officer.
Is that what the 7,500 you're alluding to?
No, I'm alluding to the assistant line, the third from the top on page 2.
Okay.
That, it's put assistant there, but it used to be finance officer. So the 2333 was a finance officer, the 3064 finance officer, and budgeted last year was 3360 for the finance officer. This
Which
year
is no longer
right.
We
needed.
just combined them all.
Right, exactly. This year, upped it to 6335. To sort of get a reasonable number, I guess, and plus all the A's
All these, and then this.
in there. Okay,
When we shift stuff like that, sometimes it's more confusing not to just eliminate the line if we're not doing it anymore. People start to ask the question. So on that contractual service where you were saying it's shifted to the treasurer, since we can remove that line. So there's not even a conversation about it. It's just not there.
okay.
The more people see different line, what happened to that? What happened to this? And you explain to them, it's just a matter of having to where just remove it, nobody.
Right, I would like to, work on the format.
Clean it up.
But this is what you're used to, I think, in 2 weeks again. So next time, it'll be cleaned up.
Okay.
Let's see, so I think, the regular and single audit. I had a question because I don't think we actually have ever had a single audit. I don't think we're big enough. Have we had?
It rotates. So once, was it every third year or every 3 years or something, we get a more in-depth audit.
Right, but to me, that's a review and then an audit.
Right.
Whereas a single audit is if you receive over $750,000 of federal money. And I don't think we do we? So we've never, a single audit is really tough. That's,
I'm not so sure if you go back and look at that's money that was always earmarked for Sullivan.
okay,
That every year they come in and actually,
Do their soft audit.
they basically sign off on the financials are in balance. They just take a quick look and say.
Right.
Compared to them coming in and doing an audit.
right, but the nomenclature, single audit, means something,
Yeah.
that we don't have, we're not doing, as far as I know. And I can confirm that with the auditors.
We were having to do it when we had certain grant money, because they were requiring us to do it. And when we had the mountain, remember the money we were getting from the smokehouse, we were required to do it. But I don't think there's anything left now, to be honest with you, that we require. I think you're right, I don't know.
Yeah, it was gonna be a requirement, I think, for ARPA funds,
Yeah,
if we didn't move it to the general, which was the suggestion at the time.
right.
Yeah, so I think you're probably right, I don't think we do.
Right, because, if you do a single audit, a review and single audit don't go together.
Right.
But, okay, so that's cleared in my mind. What else? Yeah, the sheriff department, that's one on page 5. I think there's been, that's a major contract with a vendor, so,
It's a major contract that I think if townspeople had their way, it would change, because they're not real responsive about much, actually, so. But I think we should keep the number where it is until that point, but
okay.
just my own opinion.
All right, and similarly, the ambulance. I don't know, I have to look at the contract, I think if we're locked in, but the town of Rockingham's town manager has contacted me and was wanting to, living in Brattleboro.
Well, yeah, they're actually talking about, I don't want to speak out of turn, because I don't live in Rockingham, obviously, but I think Rockingham is actually talking about going with Rescue Inc.
Right.
versus Golden Cross. They probably want to know if we'd be interested in
Right.
going in on that too.
Originally, when we brought in Golden Cross, the only reason we could do it is we combined with Rockingham. At the time, we had fevers, and basically they came in a lot less, but only if we got both towns.
Right.
So I don't know if really our contract reads that we have to stay together. It was only a way that they came in to do business with us. However, they've been super good and haven't raised their rates at all since then.
I think if you talk to the fire department, though, they would not give you that same super good answer.
No, I meant as far as not raising their costs.
Cost maybe, yeah.
No.
Service-wise, I
No,
would say.
the performance is different than the service.
Okay, yep.
The service is there, they have the equipment. Do they perform? That's a whole different discussion. You know,
Well, that may come if they lose Rockingham.
then we might not have a choice.
We may not have an option there.
Right, and I'd like to point out that Rescue Inc., being in Brattleboro, I'm very familiar with that issue. Rescue Inc. is not-for-profit. The Golden is a for-profit. So
Well, I guess if Rockingham wants to discuss it, we have to discuss it with Rockingham. I guess that's my point, because I know I sat there and that's when we combined the two. That was the only way they would come here.
Dave?
And does anyone know how long the contract is for?
Currently? I don't have.
They just came in, it's only like year to year, but it's really weird that they've never ever come in and said, here's a new cost increase.
Well, for the next meeting, we should have that number,
Yeah.
where we're at,
It's just,
we have left on it, and
Yeah,
I think we have a contract.
I think we did. I think I looked at one.
I've been signing them every year, but like I said, we haven't brought much up for discussion because they haven't changed the rate. But one time we discussed the fact that were we gonna make them not bill Westminster residents through the insurance? We had discussions on that, so if you got in an accident and you were from Westminster, would you be billed different to your insurance company? We discussed all that, but it all went away, and I've never heard anything about it, and it's, like I said, I don't know about the performance of service, so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then the transfer to retreatment, I mean, I'm clear of that, about that. I mean, that's a.
I'm unclear about that.
Where are you? Sorry. What page?
public safety, for only line item in it.
General,
Transfer to
5.
retreat.
yeah,
The triple.
yep, I see it, general transfer to retreatment.
So I'm unclear, it's a big number, so the select board should be involved.
That was, retreatment it's not the pavement?
Yeah, I think.
Right, it is. And so, of course, I don't have the budget in front of me, but we discussed it today. So we didn't pave this year. We did maintenance. But there's another line item where it shows that we used $7,000 out of paving. And because of how it was set up in my budget, I don't have a line within my budget for paving.
No,
So, right, so I went to Kelly and said, hey, how do you want to code this? I've got slips for putting asphalt out all over and fixing potholes, and she coded it. So we were going through the budget today, you got that, I said, well, how does that work? You got $135,000 for paving, but nothing ever came out of it.
That's what you're transferring it to. It's always been that way. If you didn't have time to do it, You didn't lose it because
Okay,
it's
so,
a separate line item.
so where I did spend the money, where did that come from?
It should come out of the
Correct.
retreatment as far as.
That's what I'm saying, I spent the money, but it doesn't show
Sometimes
where.
we've had as many as 2 years there just because, but it was transferred to a separate line. Otherwise, if you didn't pay it and didn't spend it, you had to basically give it back to the voters.
Right,
It was unexpended.
no, I get that,
But normally I thought.
but if I got $10 and I spend 5 of
You
it,
spend it and they transfer
it
the
should
money.
show that I'm
Spent
missing.
five.
I spent 5, and that's
Correct.
where I'm at. So it's not, I'm not clear where it came from.
I know, we should get a capture of that, so what, as you spend money, they're supposed to transfer it from that fund to pay for, the revenue pays for the expense. Sometimes we've spent as much as 80 or 90, but we've had left over and we just kept carrying it. It's a special, can only be used for that payment on it. So I would say first, let's get a capture of that line item, find out what is in there. 2 years ago, we matched it with grant money. Remember, we did that. So we had grant money and we had that, and that's why people said, why'd you spend so much?
No, right.
Yeah.
But so right now, it shows you've got $135,000
I'm not so sure that's
extra to
correct.
retreat, and nothing ever came out of it. So when we spend money all year long, out of, where did it come from?
A good one, no,
That's my.
no, that's a good question.
Asking.
Yeah. But according to this, every year you spent 135 up until this year.
Right,
So I don't, it doesn't make sense. So.
right.
So you'll look into that,
Yes,
thank you, sir.
yes. And then, let's see, the page 7 are more 2 dots. The equipment fund, big number, you know, how the board,
Where are you at?
page 7.
Geez, we got a whole bunch on this one.
Yeah.
Page 6.
And
Yeah,
it,
these are easy though.
yeah, I mean, the 175 showed up last year for the first time.
That was the new truck.
No, that was the new line item. We took it, it was always an article, we voted, so we took it and put it as just a line item. So that basically before you were specifically spending it, yeah, or you had to give it back, now it's just part of his budget on it. But we should have more discussion on that because as Chuck sees, we got more repairs coming. It's not for just a truck because they can go without a truck. It's for the road grader, like he was saying the other day, you gotta fix. We have to look at, are we gonna buy a new loader or fix the loader? We have to look at things like that, and then that's where the money should be placed. Should we raise that capital to 200 or 250 or something?
Well,
So
that 175 is not gonna buy you the same amount of repairs or parts that it did a
Exactly
year ago,
right.
so.
Yeah,
Right,
Prices have moved considerably higher.
right.
we needed to have that discussion.
Yeah.
So, but that's where we should have just a line item that this is much.
Okay.
Okay, oh, and you said repairs and maintenance is another
Yeah.
item though.
Yep, yep.
It is the hard stuff. The fuel tank removal, like I'm unclear about that.
We removed, well, you.
Yeah.
It's all done except for, I'm waiting for the electrician to finish, so they can have an inspection, so we can close it out. The fire marshal has to come in and do a final inspection of everything, but they've got to finish.
So that 78 number, not to cut you off, I'm sorry. That 78 number was what we had anticipated spending on removal of old tanks, installation of new.
But why would we have it again this year?
It's not, because the new tanks were purchased out of last year's budget. So when we went into this year's, it showed that initial 78,000. And the tanks ended up being a fair bit less than what we had
Far
anticipated.
less than what we anticipated, right?
The removal, they did themselves, which saved us.
Right. But I guess the
Pretty good
question
chunk.
is, what he would ask now is, it's not gonna be 78 this coming year. What, but do we need 2,000 or 1,500, or are you all done? You need a little more money in the. put in the budget to finish it, I guess is the question.
I don't know if we're gonna need any money put back in the budget to finish it
Yeah.
Make that zero.
Make that zero.
for going forward.
It was some explosion-proof fixtures and stuff is what he was waiting for, right?
Right, exactly.
There again, if it was me, take it off. If it's gone, whenever it was specific.
No, we discussed that today.
Get rid of the line item.
We've got a bunch of trash in our budget that can go away.
Clean it up so it's easier to.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody
stuff
will
that
even ask.
happened 10 years ago.
Right, and I would like to point out that the code, you know, even though people don't look at the codes, they look at the words, the coding has changed, if you look at it. The expenditure report, numbers are different than the budget numbers, so I'm gonna fix that.
Okay.
Point that, yeah.
Well, when we separated highway from the general fund, they changed the
coding.
coding. So that
Yeah, if
could
you,
be why, what you're looking at.
yeah, if you compare the two, it's tough. You know, the words are similar, but the numbers aren't.
Yep. Okay.
All right, and then we're going to the whole health and welfare service. Oh, before we get there though, can I ask the reason why the participation recreation is split out? To me,
What page, where are you at?
page 8, the senior
Past
center.
page 7?
We're just jumping ahead a little bit.
No, but I'm saying, you know, when you go through the health and welfare services, to me, participation, recreation, they're about the same thing. Is there any benefit of breaking out participation, recreation from health and welfare services? Because conceivably, participating in recreation is healthy, is a health service.
But these are articles that they specifically asked, and I think there's a little confusion, because if they ask for 3 years, we don't really normally even state it, this disappears. So I'm questioning why we have so many here. When a retired senior volunteer program is $775, it's basically gonna be $775, the budget got no choice. So the only ones that would have a choice would be an article where they changed it, which would be somebody that didn't go 3 years, which would obviously be SEVEDS, or SEVEDS. Sevens. And the Butterfield Library now would have to do it again on it. Anybody that
I
has,
think they vote at a town meeting.
Yeah,
Right.
these are separate, these are all separate. Oh, not all of them.
Well, yeah, yeah, you're right.
Not all.
Not all.
Yeah.
I think we just need to go back and look at, okay, if they've been here 3 years,
No.
it's just automatically in our budget as a line item, and we got no choice.
So is that, you know, is that why the senior center and the activities? Because the senior center, I think, is a vendor, you know, like, you know, I'm just questioning why senior center and activities commission is separate, and why is it lumped with the others?
What is Activities Commission even? Is it the same as,
Yeah, it goes to that group that's supposed to like the Easter egg hunt and those kind of
like the
things.
pool?
Yeah.
Like that whole-
No,
No,
it's
it's
not.
separate. The pool's privately owned.
recreation?
Right.
It's Story Houghton,
Huh.
it's
Gaming
Right, like if we were
nights,
gonna organize
a
the
dance or a concert.
our own, remember we talked about
That's the
it?
activity.
Yeah.
That,
That's what it
if
is.
Westminster was gonna have like a town fair,
Yeah.
that's what it's
Or
for, remember what we were
a
talking about? there?
townwide flea market or
Right,
something
exactly.
like that. That's
Yeah.
what the Activities Commission.
That's what that's for.
And they get the $1,000 every year.
Okay, I mean, still, my question is, why are they separate from these? You know, to me, as a first time looking at it, that camp stuck out in those two. If you
I don't
put-
know, because Activity Commission is actually a sanctioned committee of the select board, okay? And the other ones are just, they all have their own, they're not sanctioned by us, they're just basically people who came and asked for it, now we give it to them. You see what I'm saying?
The private entities of the town.
Yeah, people, right.
Oh, they do the candles for Christmas Eve. That's another thing that the Activities Committee does.
I think that's the only reason,
I don't know
because
about the,
that's the select board
Senior center.
sanctioned committee.
Versus a third, you know,
The
versus a.
health and welfare are just groups of people who came in and had articles.
Yeah.
We are obligated to put them out to the voters to say that they're going to that specific one. under the other ones, under the activity commission, they could actually not take the $1,000 and it would go back into our general fund because they're a sanctioned group from us.
Okay,
So on the health and welfare, we made a decision a long time ago, when the time comes, if they are earmarked for $775, we send it to them. But the activity commission doesn't get $1,000, they gotta come and ask for expenditures. You see what I'm saying? They would give you a bill for $700 for candles or something like that.
okay, that's the activities commission. How about the senior center?
You know, I'm a little confused why that's there, I don't know.
That should be.
Put on the other side?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah, I don't know why that's there. to be honest.
Okay, permission to swap?
Yeah.
Okay, and, but keep, then you have just one line, you know, the activities commission has one line item, you know, one, okay. So,
Like recycling storage facility 000, that can go away. Right?
yeah,
You know, there's a lot of things that can be cleaned up.
Except that we still gotta give them that trailer back, so just to remind the board, we still gotta get that done. This, he wants his trailer.
Okay.
So sometime along, we gotta
It has
get,
to be cleaned out too, right?
that's the whole issue.
We'll give it
I
back.
don't even know what's in it.
Just give them back with all the moldy stuff in it.
Yeah, guess what? We'll give it to you, but you gotta take our stuff.
You gotta take the stuff.
What's in it, you know?
What's that?
What's in it?
When nobody knows, there's a lock, at least get sometime.
Kelly's got the law, got the
I know,
key.
but it was like, if you could, Chuck, maybe you could start looking in there and finding out. There was some, old cabinets and stuff like that, but then there's actually files and you need somebody to decide legally, can they throw those files?
I can't look tomorrow, but I can Friday. If somebody else wants to open it up, we'll go for it.
We need at least take a
Yeah,
look.
that's fine. We'll do it. We'll do it Friday.
If, and again, I guess documents, like I said, like, was mentioned, that legal question, that might be a question on, for shredding. We might have to, help them make up an excuse my French.
Docu-shred.
Yeah, that might be what we have to do.
I was missing, I missed the,
There are documents in this old trailer, that potentially documents in the old trailer that will need to be legally destroyed properly.
We did the whole building over and there was a lot of some old cabinets with old files and people didn't know whether they could throw them away. The legal files that we knew we had to save, we didn't throw away, we put them someplace else. These were all questionable, and we just needed the town clerk, town treasurer to kind of walk through and says, no, I don't need this anymore, or something like that.
Something about water damage too, right?
Yeah.
Water damage, where they're being stored?
Yeah, at the time, we took them out of the basement of the,
Right.
because it was starting to leak and to be wet in the post office. So we cleaned the post office basement.
All right, let's get back on track to, where are we?
Library of Westminster West.
Yep.
Why, you know, that, the other question, why is that separate? It looks like it could be on the health and welfare.
Westminster West? Where are you looking at?
Page eight.
Page eight.
Page 8.
Right in the middle.
They gotta be, yeah, they gotta be 3 years and they upped it last year. The 15,000 was a one-time where they were, asked us for extra money to upgrade their system so that
Oh, they, yeah, joined the Catamount.
Catamount or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
So should I combine it on the other
I
side?
think it can go on the other side.
I think it was only there because I guess somebody brought up the fact that this, isn't that the Westminster West Library actually our library?
No.
It's not.
No, yes, yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
Right. We don't own the other library, it's the only library we own, so maybe that's why it's separate. I mean, I could
So
think,
how about combining Activities Commission and Library of Westminster West as, no, not combining together, but combining them as a department, so to speak, you know, like,
Moving it.
instead of separating, instead of highlighting both of them in bold. say-
well, the only problem with that, and you need to have somebody answer that question. When you put them in the same group, does that mean that the activities committee can go out to Westminster West and use some of their money, or the Westminster West library can use some of the activities money? Normally, that's why we put them in a section where, you know, it's like the select board is in one section and the listers. That would be my only question, it might make it too confusing. The activity commission is a sanctioned commission from us.
Yeah, I think they should be separated.
Yeah.
Separated like that. Okay, because all right. And I guess that's it for my questions of the select board
Okay.
on the budget. Pauline is there if you want to look at her budget and have questions about it. And Chuck is there if you want to. I mean, I'm comfortable with what Pauline and Chuck have provided to me, so, but.
Can I ask a quick question? The sanitary numbers, is that Joe giving us those numbers, or is that numbers we just assume it's going to be?
What page?
So page 8 at the top. So that was
Oh, that's, I need to look into.
okay.
That's the one
Those
side.
numbers are not what Joe said. These are not numbers that Joe Ruggiero said, yes, these are good.
Right.
We need to find out
yes,
if they
yes,
are.
yes, that's a whole, yeah.
That was the question.
TBG.
Pauline, did you want to speak to your budget?
Only if there's questions. I mean, I think it's pretty cut and dry. As far as this expenditures for supplies and expenses, I just chose to go increase of a 25%, which I think is kind of conservative in this day and age. But we don't have a lot of needs for supplies and expenses in the town clerk's office. I did want to point out that I feel justified asking for the increase in wages because I don't know if that's included with the budget revenue that you receive, because right now the budget is at $22,000 for town clerk's general fees. As of December 7th, the revenue was $50,238. So if the trajectory continues to the end of June, that's a possible revenue of over $100,000. And I don't think that's out of the question. I think it's pretty spot on. So with that, if the potential increase could be over $78,000 extra revenue. And that does not include the restoration fee, which is not in the budget. It never has been. It's monies that is always kept in reserve in case the vault fails or our records need special attention, things like that in the town clerk's office. So as of the same December 7th, this year alone, it's over $13,000. Same trajectory to the end of June would be another 26. So it doesn't go into the budget, but it's in our coffers, that restoration fee. So in my mind, our department is the only one producing substantial revenue. So I feel justified.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Pauline?
I hope you're feeling better.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question that's always bothered me since I've been on here. Do we legally have to separate on the salaries where it says the salary for the town clerk and wages for assistant is so personal? I thought we could actually just have it as salaries and not, it could be 3 people, it could be 2 people. But in this case, it would be a salary of $75,974 and then leave it up to you guys who gets what.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
There's too much rigging when all of a sudden, let's say you got sick and you wanted to work less and the other person wants to work more, by this way, nobody would care.
Okay.
think we do that with highways, they're
Yeah,
not broken
they're
out
all just
by
lumped
person.
into-
Yeah.
here's your total
Not a problem
salary.
with that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So would the board like me to do that?
I don't know why we can't. I've always wondered.
although, I don't know, because I'm
I'll
not,
leave it up. I'll
I'm
leave it
not a
up.
town employee.
But it doesn't,
Yeah,
it's,
you might have to have it separate.
I don't know. That's why I said legally you might have to ask. I'm not sure. It's up to you, Pauline. I don't care.
Okay,
Or find out and, yeah, one way or the other.
I know, like, even in school, it was like, they would say the principal, but it really was the whole office. Or, you know, so it's not so personal when you're looking at it.
Well, I think in the past, like with the highway department, that can cause a lot of animosity amongst your help. If they can look in the town report and see what the next guy's making,
Right.
for whatever reason.
The only reason why she might have a hard time, because technically assistant.
No, I
clerk is
understand that.
title.
I'm talking, he said that's what the highway department,
Yeah.
and we had talked about
Yeah.
doing it different. But that would be the only thing that would cause an issue.
Yeah.
I don't care what the, you know, the taxpayers, I got nothing to hide there. If they need to know what I make, we can tell them, but, as far as the guys, all knowing what each other makes, sometimes that creates a problem.
Most of the time. Yeah.
I can see that, but this is it's only two people and then it's totally transparent.
I would leave it up to you, Pauline. If you find out that legally it has to be separated, we'll leave it as is. If you want to combine it, we can
Yeah,
combine.
like I said, I'll leave it up to you.
Okay,
Preference either way.
I just thought it gave you a little more flexibility if nobody.
it would. I understand that. Thank you. But I'll check that out. See what other towns do.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Anything else for Pauline this time? Chuck, did you want to speak to yours?
You've got all the, what we talked about today in there?
Put them in there.
Okay, well, you've got all you've got my crib sheet, so I don't even know.
Don't know if I did it correctly.
I don't know without the town report that I left with you, so.
Yeah, I actually, somebody should check. I mean, you should, you know, like, I'll double check, but.
Okay.
Just to make sure.
We talked, Ben and I went in, we talked about it, we raised chloride a little bit,
Okay.
what else did we raise?
What's a little bit on the chloride? As a like a,
Yeah, I think, what did we bring it up, $5,000?
Liquid clay, $5,000.
is that enough to make it so in the summer, which not all summers are the same, but I mean,
Right,
dry summer, we
To-
can be a
to
little
do
more
it- to do
proactive
it-
with it than.
well, a little better, but to do it right, according to manufacturer and state specifications, you need $200,000 to have enough money in chloride to do it to the spec.
Yeah.
So we try to be proactive with it, but also responsible, so you're not wasting it, but using it
Right.
the best we can. You're using it in front of houses where you can, you're not chloriding roads where it's a big stretch in the woods where it doesn't matter as much. And sometimes we dilute it a little bit with water to make it go further. And
Gotcha.
so this winter, right now, we're in pretty good shape. We also use that same chloride is also used to activate salt. So once the weather gets down below 24 degrees, salt doesn't work. So you have to activate it with chloride. Chloride generates its own heat. So anyway, this winter so far, we went halfway through the winter, didn't use anything. So coming into summer, right now I've got 2 full tanks of chloride that I anticipated for the winter, but we'll see. We might not use it, you know?
On contracted services, Putney Plow Service, I guess I thought that was an even
No,
swap. It's not?
no, we
actually
pay them to plow, Windmill Hill South.
Huh.
It used to, years before that, it was Arrow Wood plowed it,
Oh, yeah.
and, I don't know. At some point it changed, so they plow Windmill South.
We don't do part of, don't we do part of,
River Road, I thought we did.
River
River
Road.
Road was
We
exchanged.
do,
what's the other one, the
And this
bottom
was-
of Quarry Road, don't we do something down there?
Yep, we do down to the bridge.
Originally, that's what was the trade-off, was we would
It's
do,
been this way long before me,
Yeah.
years,
No, I'm
it's
sure
been
it
like
has.
this for years.
I don't remember how.
And I questioned it and I was told that
That's how it was.
this is the way it is. So,
Well, we can always renegotiate.
And Chuck, you
I
know,
do not want to drive to Windmill Hill South and try to plow
That's
that.
fine.
No, I'm
That's
just
fine.
saying,
No, but I think it could
10
be
miles
more,
out of our way to do that.
it could be more equitable though, somehow, I don't know how. It is that's a long road compared to the short pieces that we do for them, so maybe that's the difference.
It's also up on top of that mountain.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Yeah, no, it wouldn't be fun and they're already there. So it makes sense.
Yeah,
I just
we
assumed
would
it
have to
was,
drive through Putney to get there miles. you know.
I assumed it was more of a equitable trade-off, but.
and Chuck, you don't mind if we just eliminate just repairs and parts, leave it there and get rid of all these line items with equipment truck 1, 2, 3 and all that? It's just so many line items that mean nothing to anybody.
I would like it separated.
Why?
If you have something that's costing you more money than it's worth, it's nice to see it on paper.
Just ask for it, but it doesn't have to be in the town report, is what my point is. He would still keep track of it. He still would keep track of just why have all that layout when you're looking at it, we don't really,
But I don't think you should have to ask for it, and lots of times you ask for things and I don't receive them. So it would be nice if it was just there.
well, I just don't like an unbudgeted line. That's what I have a hard time with. You can't, you're looking at all those line items, we didn't budget them because we budgeted for a total.
Right.
I mean, if you really want to say it, okay, then put in $2,000 for truck 1, and then we'll question you why you spent $2,500. I mean, what are we gaining out of the whole thing? The gaining is the bottom line, is really, what did you spend on the equipment?
I suppose at the end of the year, I could give you a supplement to add to the town report that would give that information.
Yeah, or even. you come
Because
in
I
and
can
say,
go into
hey,
my program right now and I can print off all that information.
I mean, everything else, we budget a line item for what it is, and this is the only one that's so confusing.
So you're saying, okay, so we do that, and then, so as I get slips, I would just code them stuff, parts and
We
whatnot.
code, in 22, it goes towards parts and repairs,
Yeah,
but that's what we quoted. If you're gonna, that's the whole issue, you
I
didn't
don't know.
budget anything for that equipment for truck number 2, you didn't budget anything.
right.
So, all you're doing is
I'm just keeping track of what we spent on it for the year,
exactly, but that's not a
out of
forecast.
that.
We didn't go to the voters and say, it'd be different if you came to us and you say, hey, I'm gonna put an engine in truck number 3. So this year I wanna put 35,000. Okay, that would make sense. But these numbers you're looking down, they're just regular routine maintenance. It's not a special line item. You see what I'm saying? That we're going to the voters, hey, sorry, we're not buying a grader this year, but we gotta redo the engine for 25,000. Create a line item that, hey, because that's gonna be a hiccup in your equipment fund. Anything that's, you want to point out that, hey, this is not a normal
Above and
expense.
beyond maintenance.
Yeah, you're gonna ask for it and go, okay, it's not gonna be every year I'm gonna put an engine in this vehicle, but this year is why we're gonna do it.
But on the flip side of that, you could look through this and see maybe a year before you need that engine, boy, that thing's cost us a ton of money. Let's get rid of it.
Right.
And
You know what I
that would be
mean?
him to come to us and show us those numbers. But-
That's true too.
Right.
But he hasn't come to us and said, hey, can you put in, that's the whole thing. Chuck hasn't come to us and said, you need to put $13,000 in because I gotta replace the axle on the backhoe. Then we would go down backhoe, put 13,000. But in this whole thing, there's no forecast from him, so what good is it holding him to what the expenditures are? That's my only issue.
I can see both sides, I guess. I don't have a big
Right.
preference. I don't wanna make more work for somebody else, but
I just, every year it's there, nobody's ever questioned it, and it was like, okay, what are we looking at? Well, I'd be looking at the 53 or the 73, and where are we at with it? I don't think we're gonna,
Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I see both points, but to me, him tracking it offline, is double work. Him coding it when he gets the invoice to the account, let the accounting system track it. I mean, I see your point, about, I don't know enough about the system.
No, if he's gonna use it, and I'll compromise, if he's gonna use it, and he knows that the tractor's gonna have some expense, lower the 73, take $5,000 out of that, put it as a line item, then we'll track it.
But everyone's gonna have an expense. So, like by budgeting minor items, you're creating somewhat more work than, a pool, is much easier, If you put it just to one number, one line item in the accounting software, as I know it, you have to do it offline into a spreadsheet to track individual vehicles.
So I do that already.
You do that already? So you do a spreadsheet?
I do both. So I've got a program, I scan every one of the slips before I turn it in.
Okay.
And then I code it to that vehicle. So it goes into the program, the computer to that. Then I code it and I send it down there. So I've got record. So if you lose my receipts here somewhere,
Okay.
I've got backup.
Okay, I didn't know it was double.
So
double.
in theory, you can look back and see, okay, we spent $500 on maintenance on truck one, just random. We could put that in there under truck one, and so it's not a zero, so it would make Craig happy.
No, oh, wow,
Ish.
that's too much work. I mean, you either eliminate the
It
line.
doesn't sound like it would be hard, it sounds like he could just,
Yeah.
but is it hard? I don't know, because I don't know your program. I'm just,
Right. I mean, what you're tracking, you're not tracking forecast, you're tracking expenses.
right,
So
so it would be a guesstimate.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he tracked for a steam cleaner, he had $106. I mean, I don't know, there's a lot of details that it'd be good for him to know what it is, but this is a town report. I mean,
Worst case, if you eliminated those and had a bottom line number, this time next year, you could print off a supplemental, hey, this is where we're at, and this is why we need to go up or down. You can look at it and go, oh yeah, that truck is really a maintenance nightmare, yeah.
Well, you might see where the low
Where it might be
grader, we
low.
had to spend $3,000 for routine maintenance on the grader. Well, that's one service where you change all the filters, the final drive oil, the transmission fluid, the hydraulic oil. So it seems like a lot of money, but it really wasn't a major repair.
No,
It was
right.
just service.
I guess I don't,
So it don't matter to me either way, I guess. It's up to you. I do think, in my simple head, that when you do that and the town report comes out, be ready to answer some questions. Because people are gonna go, what happened? Last year we had all this, now we got nothing.
that's fair.
Chuck, you're of the opinion though that this itemization as it's listed is better?
I think some people are gonna like it better. I don't know that everybody can follow it.
No, but what
But I
I'm saying
think-
is, when it's like this, you'll have less questions.
I think you guys will have less questions that way.
I agree with you. That's just my 2 cents.
That's,
leave it there, I don't want to. But I'm gonna question why you spent $3,000 on a chainsaw, okay? But,
I didn't, a chainsaw, Greg, we own 14 chainsaws. I can get you that information for next meeting.
I wonder why you spent nothing before though, that's what I'm questioning. In 2018, 2019, you never owned a chainsaw?
No?
Now, we went to 156, now we're at $3,000 last year in chainsaws.
Yeah.
See, that's a long discussion that we really didn't need to have.
Right.
Look, it's transparent, and as he said,
He's not wrong about the question,
Yeah.
about the questions, for sure.
Like I said, and I can give you all that information. I
No,
can inundate you with
listen,
paperwork
you-
on chainsaws.
I trust you to give you the tools you need to do it.
Right.
Question why you bought that Kubota or why you
No,
bought that
right.
tractor. Just get the tools you need.
Right.
right, and if you're
What?
standing there at town hall, and someone makes that question, you'll answer it.
Right.
Tell me.
Excuse me.
We bought a
It's the-
$1,500 pavement saw.
At the end of the day, it's all about
So that was
transparency,
half.
right?
Right, absolutely. So,
So what's the board's guidance on that?
Leave it alone, I guess.
Fine either way.
Yeah, what is it, next week? Yeah.
I'm not married either way, whatever you guys
It's the only
decide.
thing that we have in there that we don't budget a number for, then we've got a line item. That's what's so confusing, you know, so whatever.
Yes, David? Sorry.
Right, I think that there's two different purposes going on. One is the presentation to the voters.
Correct.
And getting a budget approval. And the second is how to manage the department in an efficient way. And those two purposes aren't necessarily one and the same.
Not the same.
One requires much more detail than the other, which just, a simple maintenance figure is probably fine. Unless there's drastic changes, in which case there'll have to be some explanation. So, I'd be inclined to simplify the presentation, but not to get rid of the detail of the budget for the management
I can appreciate that.
situation.
You know what, that's a great point. I'm just simply, and I remain quiet throughout this whole thing. If someone wanted an illustration, at least I could say, hey, look, you know what, this is an example of transparency, and when I look at this, I don't see anybody is gonna hold up the budget or hold up the meeting over $3,100. And I don't mean this directly, because we spent $3,100 on a chainsaw.
No, but we could actually, if just at least, meet me halfway, if you broke it down and put the steam cleaner, the equipment rate, the jackhammer, and equipment all as miscellaneous equipment as one line item, that would probably be a little helpful.
Right.
But if it makes work for you to do, don't do it, okay?
And I was told in the past, that's what happened, was they would just code it that way, all that stuff. And then I started breaking it out because I've got the line items, so I was utilizing all those codes. And I was told in the past we didn't, so.
So this year, I gave you an example, without having to do a PowerPoint.
Thanks.
There you go.
Any other questions for Chuck? Or Chuck, do you have anything else that you want to bring to
No,
our attention that
just like
jumps?
we
None of them
discussed.
jump out real big.
No, we changed things, it's a couple $100 here or there, nothing major. We discussed about getting rid of some things, I forgot what page it was on. Page 11, maybe, it was Hartley Hill, grant project like that. We did it years ago, we've been paid for it, it's done, trash it.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of that kind of stuff. They're just,
I'm sure there's tons of it.
when you're reading through it, it gets confusing because, for everybody, for me, for you guys, for the, I'm not an accountant, I'm just a dirt dummy fumbling through it, so.
All right. Anything else on preliminary budget discussion at this time?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why all the salaries, the benefits don't track the salaries? All the benefits are under you guys?
Good question.
Whereas a salary has benefits, was it for simplicity purposes, do you think? Or, I don't know the history. Because I'll separate it out.
I would prefer it your way, but I'm just one person.
So give me an example of this one, look at it, I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay, on page 1, the line employee benefits, that's for every employee. And yet the wages are broken out throughout the budget.
Good question.
That's the way I would expect it to be.
Because, a cost, not only do you pay a person, but they have benefits, so that,
Right.
if you're,
Exactly.
if you're moving the wage, if the wage is being separated, the benefits should be separated.
Any review I've ever done, that's how it was done.
I was pretty sure they were separated in this one. But I don't know.
No, I agree with you.
So if there's no historical reason, I mean, I could,
Is it because the employee cost per person, the benefit cost per person is the same for all the employees? They'll get the same days off, the same, the only thing changes is the wages?
no insurance, single family
Yeah,
spouse,
that's true, yeah, I don't know.
and also the
Security's
percentage.
not- Yep,
Yeah.
security's not doing anything.
It's all,
Maybe it's because you
Yeah.
only got one bill from that particular one, and that's what you're earmarking, and you didn't break it down, I don't know. I never could figure it out.
the employee roster is very stable, so you break it out once and every month, you have it. There's not too much turnover, people come in and out, simple fix.
Sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Judging by the head nods on this side of the room.
All right, try to have that for next,
All right.
next
We
board
can't
meeting.
give you an answer while we do it, it's a good answer.
Anybody online have any questions about budget, or anybody here, or at this time? Anyone? All right. Thanks, Ken. This is, I like the dots on the side and the questions, and I like that.
It is much easier to read than that.
Yeah, I like it.
A lot.
Thank you very much.
Sure. I mean, should we still schedule the breakouts?
You never did get an answer, did you?
I don't think it's necessary.
Never think we should.
I don't
It's
think
hard
there's too
to
much.
schedule
Yeah.
and, yeah.
I guess, what's your answer? I'm just gonna,
I would say no at this point. I mean,
no to what?
to break it out into groups, I think Pauline and the clerks have their stuff pretty well in check. Chuck seems to have his stuff in check with Ken.
Oh, I see what's on, I thought you meant on the report, you're
No.
not on the meeting.
No, the meetings,
Oh, okay, no, that's fine.
Okay. Did you want to go over this letter from Chad real quick? Ken? This is the answer that you got back.
right,
Soon.
it's last year. I mean,
Yeah.
it's I'm sending it to you for information. I have
Yeah.
work to do to make sure. I mean,
Okay.
he's saying a preliminary.
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah.
So part of this, you probably don't have it. It says the FEMA fund still has a deficit of 82,000. I presume there is more federal money coming. Do we know how much? If it comes, will you replenish the highway fund and contingency fund, and if so, in what order? That 82 has got to be that culvert up here that really wasn't completed that long ago, so it's probably going to come in.
Right, I don't have clearance to get into that part of the portal.
Yeah,
I can tell whether we've been paid, but where it is
in the
in the
cycle.
cycle,
Yeah.
Kelly is, as far to my knowledge, her and Russ were the only two that had that kind of clearance.
But that 82, that seems to
That's
line
right.
up with that
Yes.
culvert, so.
The last time I spoke with the FEMA people about fire department things, they had authorized, obligated those funds. The state had done their part of things, and they said there should be funds arriving in 3 to 4 weeks, which would have been Thanksgiving. So, but you know how quick the state moves, so.
They
I'm
promise
assuming-
stuff soon and it never seems to make
So
it.
the feds have released it.
The feds have released it, the state has basically said, okay, you're just waiting for it to actually go.
I mean, we can drive up there and get the check if it's an issue.
Well, and I don't know how they get notified because it gets wired to the accounts from what I understand. So, and Chip at Nimerick is the one that has dealt with it, and Kelly still can't log into the portal. So I don't know if they email the town hall. Nobody's given me an answer as to how that process works. So I don't know if you'll get notified that funds arrive. I would assume that if Chip knows they arrive, he'd say something, but I don't know.
So they block her out of it? I mean, she was able to get into it.
She has not corrected the issue.
Well, we have a town manager
As far
now.
as I know.
Cool.
As far as I know. I don't know, I haven't been in the office, but
We have a town manager who's authorized agent for this, specifically for this portal. So,
But he might not be set up yet.
no,
No.
but, because he's juggling 50 things, but I got it. But
Yeah.
only 50.
we now have an authorized person.
Okay.
So when you do have a moment out of your,
We can point in a
Add
direction if you need
it, add
help.
it to your list.
So on this sheet right here, where tentatively, what number are we looking at here where we stand for a potential surplus from last year? What is that number looking like?
Well,
Potentially.
the whole, does the town owe the fire district? I mean, that was a question Banger brought up, and I think I talked to Ali a little,
I don't know.
and so, like that 22,
22, yeah.
I mean, these are questions I can't answer right now.
Okay, okay.
And actually, what I would look for, I can get the background and the answers for the first 3 paragraphs, but the last paragraph, and the deficit, the FEMA, I can get that, but the replenish the highway fund and contingency fund, that's a board decision. How much?
Hey, while we're on that, while you're doing a little research on this, Jason, we never discussed, we had a truck payment that we didn't know about last time, which would be a negative $43,000. As far as I know, we never put the money into our, I'd like to make sure we at least put it in this year's coming up, since we will have another payment.
You mean
It's money, there's a truck loan, it's really an excavator. But there's 2 payments, of 43,000 1 year and 43,000 for the next. I can't seem to find, unless I'm wrong, that we ever actually put the money in our budget for a loan payment.
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did. But do we want to make the same mistake again?
No.
We'll be 43,000 given short.
Okay, so.
I can send you the information if you still don't have it, but I can give you a call.
Sure. Because, I don't.
Ally knows, she's got it.
Right.
I think instead of keep saying that it's actually an excavator payment, we should not say that.
It's a loan.
Because it's not an excavator, it's a truck. That just confuses.
Well, it is and it isn't.
No, it's not. It is. It's a truck. We didn't borrow money for an excavator, we borrowed money for a truck. The place that it was purchased changed, but that really is kind of irrelevant. It's the fact that we owe this money on a truck, not an excavator.
Yeah, correct. Except that what happens is they took the money for the truck earmarked to pay for the excavator, then went and borrowed the money. So, it was 61.5 billion, same money. Yeah. All they know is that
So it's equipment.
it's the equipment, it's different than the equipment fund, because that's for you to buy something this next year. This is an obligation from the past.
No, right, no, I get that. Yeah.
Just want to make sure that we earmark and put some money aside for that loan. Otherwise, it's coming.
Where'd the money come from for the last payment?
It came out of the general fund.
Came out of the general fund.
Which should show somewhere.
No, I'm hoping.
it's not an excavator, it was a backhoe, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And the backhoe was necessary because our backhoe had failed.
Correct.
I don't know if there's any projections what we did. It's just,
Any other
All right.
discussions on budget, preliminary budget at this time? All right. Thanks, Ken, and,
he's gonna put it together so we can come back and we can start discussing the bottom line.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, next, you're gonna make it pretty.
Yep.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Please look at the revenue page while you're right at it. Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on. We'll table budget discussion until next time. Town manager's report.
I meant to have something written and send it to you beforehand,
That's all right.
but alas, I didn't have time. The town manager, I've been, scheduling the audit for the first week in January. I'm gonna, as I go through, I'm gonna make sure that's, not the audit, the review, sorry. I'm going to make sure that that's doable. If I find I need more time, I'll put it, back a week, And also, I talked to Chuck and, the town offers a 457 savings plan to the employees that they aren't aware of. And so I'm trying to, I'm working with Empower, who's the custodian or the administrator. And so the 457 is the 401 equivalent for a municipality. And so, I'm gonna talk to the employee, make the employees aware of it.
Okay.
And,
Thank you.
what else? Yeah, and working on the budget and, getting up to speed.
Okay.
Remember, you know how to unlock the door now and all that, huh?
I was gonna be snot. Did you guys know I was in the office?
All right, so you're good?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll move on to road foreman's report. Before you start, I apologize for not having the report last time when you weren't here. I neglected to check my phone for an email before I came in. It was not on purpose.
Right.
I just spaced it. So, and he did have actually a very good report that I feel kind of dumb that I missed, but it was not on purpose. It's just how it shook out.
It happens.
Go ahead, Chuck.
So, the 27th, Tuesday, Bridge 21 southbound on 91, they're gonna set up a crane on 121, closing it for a period of up to 2 weeks. They will have access around it for fire rescue apparatus only. Day-to-day traffic will be rerouted down back Westminster Road.
So has that changed from only during like business hours? Now it's,
Because, yeah, the crane they were gonna use, something happened, it became unavailable. Now the one they're using, they can't break it down so easily. So I'm guessing maybe it's a track crane or something versus a rubber tire. I don't know, I didn't get into that,
okay.
but.
I know originally it was like gonna be.
Correct, they were gonna open it at night and now
Okay.
they can't. So it's gonna be closed, but it will be open on the weekends. They'll move it out of the way, so Saturdays and Sundays, Friday afternoon through Sunday.
Okay.
They're hoping for just 6 working business days, but they said plan on 2 weeks. Then you won't be disappointed.
Is that something we should put on your
I've
page?
done that. I've talked to Bellows Falls Select Board. I've talked to the fire department.
There's a sign, there's a new sign.
Yeah, there is. They've
Realize
got,
that
they've
right
got
there, right before you
message
travel.
boards up.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a big
I've
blinking
talked to
sign.
I've talked to everybody I know that's gonna be
Okay.
affected.
We should probably have Kelly put that on the,
She was gonna, but I told her to wait until I knew for sure
okay,
that it was gonna, because we did that once.
Yes.
And then they changed their mind. So I
Yeah.
said, let's wait until they're
okay,
sure. And I was gonna actually call them tomorrow and make sure, just because the message board says it, don't make it so. So,
okay.
I would think the storm would screw things up a little bit, because they're working on stuff in anticipation of this
Yeah.
shutdown and removing steel and all that. What else? We applied for a Better Roads grant, Category B, for catch basins in North Westminster. They're old dry laid brick and stone. They're homemade things that are starting to fail. My fantasy is that when that bridge closes, we pave from that bridge back to Bellows Falls. If I can have all the infrastructure straightened out before then,
Our bridge,
our bridge,
yeah,
from our bridge back to
yeah.
that bad section on 121, all this other stuff will be taken care of. I would like to pave, this year, I'd like to look at paving Church Ave and Oak Hill, which are, they're both bad. If we can take care of them, then this would be the other leg to that, and it would all, and I believe next year we'll be eligible for a structures grant, which would help toward that paving. So, which we should, when I say eligible, we should really kind of be a sure thing. Obviously, nothing's a sure thing, but, we, just before it snowed, we went out in Gageville and did some ditching and cut the shoulders down where we had drainage issues before by Steve Moore's shop, and there should help get rid of that water, kind of help with the pothole situation with the failing asphalt. We took delivery on the new truck. It had to go back to Viking for some work on the hydraulics. And then it went back to, after that, it had to go back to ADG for some oil leaks. We got it back today. We're gonna be able to use it for the storm, but it's gotta go back for, the oil pan needs to be resealed and a few other things.
Quick question, it's a brand new truck?
Yeah, the new one, yeah.
Have you ever used it for anything?
Not yet.
And it has oil leaks?
Yeah,
And a hydraulic system that doesn't work?
it does now. They fixed it.
How much we pay for the truck?
Too much, 224, yeah,
$224,000.
yeah.
So it should have been in service how long ago?
In service.
Yeah, when was it supposed to be? You should have been using it how
When we
long
get
ago?
it, 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago? Okay. Thanks.
Yeah,
It's basically a recall.
right.
It's a recall. It's just,
Is it a lemon?
no, it's a recall where, here, take the truck because it's not leaking on the ground yet until they recall and get enough pans to fix them. That's all. Or park it and you don't get the truck for 3 weeks.
Right.
It's your choice. It was,
No, I didn't know it was leaking until it was leaking on the floor, and then we went, oh boy, we don't know.
Oh, no, I'm not, you know, you know what I'm
Right,
saying.
yep,
The older one didn't do that.
right. Okay, so we received $93,000 for Piggery Road. And we put in the final paperwork, so that's closed out. That's a done deal from the USDA. And we started working on the budget, so other than that, that's all I got.
Oh, I'm sorry, on that truck, are we paying anything for these repairs?
No,
Okay.
no,
One important thing, though, that was on your report for last time is your second hire
oh,
did not.
Yes.
You can speak.
okay, so, yeah. Yeah.
Or I can.
No, I forgot, well, yeah, I forgot about last month's report, or last week's
Yeah,
report, because it was done. So, we had hired 2 guys, Jimmy DeBell, which some of you guys, you probably know him. He worked for the town years ago. He worked up to the high school for years. Not sure the backstory why, but he came to us and applied, and we hired him, and it's been great attitude, knows how to operate the equipment, drives the truck. At the same time we hired him, we had a kid, 19 years old, that applied for, an introductory position to be trained and all that. His starting day, he gave us a text that morning and said he felt like a full-time job right now was too much of a responsibility. Thank you, we dodged a bullet. So we still have that position open. We have 2 part-time guys that I think we should continue to keep that in that 7th person spot, so that it gives us some flexibility. If we don't need a guy that day, we can send them home. We're not paying them benefits. Yeah, they're kind of limited on what they can do, but that's fine. We need some of those people sometimes. They've both been trained to be flaggers, so they both got CDLs. They can drive truck and they can flag, and it's basically all we need them for. So,
Great. Anybody have any questions, comments, or chat? Thank you. We're gonna go into executive session after. We're gonna move to boards, committees, and commissions. Seeing none, we'll move on to other business. Dave, you got any other business?
No?
Just came for the entertainment.
Checking in.
Okay. Any other business at this time? Oh, good. All right.
it's always good when it's quiet.
Date of the next meeting, Wednesday, December 28th, 2022, 6:30. At this time, we're going, I do have one thing. This came in the mail today. Vermont Municipal Compensation and Benefits Report. It's nothing to do with me. I don't have any of it, any compensation or benefits, so I'll leave this at town hall if you have guys or anybody that wants to look through it or can come up through it or whatever, so. Sure. That's all I had, sorry. So at this time, we'll go into executive session for a contractual matter, yeah.